Hey guys, Smooth Brain Operator here, talking to whoever's listening out there, here with another awesome Warhammer 40k video. Well, not video, but just talking about. And I thought, especially with the new dropping of the new Horus Heresy tabletop game release for the tabletop, with the new models, and we got all kinds of new good stuff coming with that. In the trailer, it shows for the first time ever we get to see and hear Constantin Valdor, one of the most interesting characters from the Horus Heresy, and by far I think is going to play a massive role coming up in the future 40k universe. So let's get started. One thing I thought was really interesting about him was that, now let's talk about the Emperor for just a moment before we go into this. The Emperor, to my knowledge, at 2 points in his life, came up to a crossroads where even though he can see into the future, he can only see so far down a certain path. And he only seemed troubled by this crossroads in his life 2 times ever in his life. And there, by the way, there is some spoilers, so just be known if you're reading through the Horus Heresy book series or any of the Beckwin book series, I believe they are. Just be warned, they got some spoilers here. But so the Emperor was only ever worried about 2 futures in his life. Now, he's the most powerful psyker ever, period. None can hold a candle to him. But even for the Emperor, there were 2 moments in his life where he was genuinely confused and he was worried and he wasn't sure what the correct path forward was for humanity, for the survival of the human race. And one of them was to obtain Constantin Valdor. Now, the lore is very vague. We know virtually nothing on this, and I kind of like it to stay that way, but we'll see. Games Workshop could do something with that and expand upon the lore, but as it is currently, I don't know if he had the Emperor had his Thunder Warrior armies yet, or if he just had a simple ragtag of loyalists, or what he had with him. But to my knowledge, the lore stated that it was kind of up in the air, and if the Emperor wanted humanity to survive and thrive, he needed Constantin Valdor. And at the time, and remember, this was during the Thunder Warrior period, if not before, long before the Thunder Warriors even, maybe. So whatever the Emperor had at the time, when humanity was running around looking like Mad Max, just a lot of leather and chains and spikes everywhere is what everyone's basically looking like. But the Emperor had to cross a desert and risk losing everything he had, everything he gained, which wasn't much at the time, but it was still like starting off, and he had to risk all of it and everything to find a child, and that child would be Constantin Valdor. That if he succeeded, if he found this child of all humans on Earth, on Terra, that is war-torn and destroyed and butchered, if he found this one child, it could be the difference between saving humanity or not, and watching it fall into ruin. And so the Emperor sacrificed, well, he didn't sacrifice, but he took a genuine gamble. For a man that sees into the future and is the most powerful psyker ever, for him to look at something and go, that's a 50-50 chance, that's huge. That's massive. I don't think we give that enough weight and enough credit at what it meant to obtain Constantin Valdor. And so he did. He took the risk. He put everything on the line. And we don't know what happens. We don't know what he faced. We don't know what that entails. We just know that he had a vision of humanity only succeeding if the Emperor had this person by his side, this most loyal of loyals, the most loyal of loyal sons. And it was Constantine. And so he risked everything, risked it all, whatever he had, whatever force, whatever army, whatever followers, all on the line. And he won. he came out on top. He procured the child that would be Constantine. And as soon as he pumped him full of he was the first custodes, possibly the first super soldier ever, and from the emperor's own hand. And then from then on made custodes, and then from then on made the Thunder Warriors, if I understand the lore correctly. Or he could have had the Thunder Warriors before. And so then he made him, he formed him on a genetic level, remade Constantine. And then he's been this unstoppable force of will for the emperor ever since, just non-questioning. And we really don't get much other views on him other than towards the end of the Horus Heresy with the Siege of Terra books is when he really starts to show up more. But he can go toe-to-toe with the primarchs. He was there when the primarchs were being made, when they were in their test tubes, when they were birthed, when they were stolen from the emperor in the imperial palace by chaos, flung across the galaxy, and he was there one by one as they were being found. He seems almost like a big brother to the primarchs. Like he's not a primarch. To be clear, Constantin Valdor is not a primarch, but he kind of is. He's like the same height, he's the same size, he moves just as fast as them. He can go toe-to-toe with a primarch. I think it even states in the newer lore for him that he has even trained them. He's trained with them and actually trained some of them and taught them, not their full fighting experience, but at least taught them a little bit and sparred with them. And to my knowledge, nobody can spar with a primarch except another primarch. And even the training servitors they have can't really stand up to the level a primarch needs. And so I think in the new lore, yeah, he has gone toe-to-toe as far as just sparring, that is, with other primarchs. And he's their same height, their same size. He's able to take them. And he grows quite affectionate to a couple of them, being Rogel Dorn, Sanguinius, but everyone loves Sanguinius. I mean, who doesn't? And then, oddly enough, Leman Russ. And that comes down to the spear, right? The emperor gave him a spear, specially crafted, and also gave Leman Russ a similarly special crafted spear. They both have now become brothers in a way. So if he wasn't a primarch before, he could be considered more of one now, simply because not only is he the first of the emperor's creations, but he is the first of the custodes. He's the primarch of the custodes, you could say. Even though, again, he's not a primarch, but he is so dang close to being one that it's almost splitting hairs. It's kind of a gray area for me personally. I think he kind of is one. That's just something that we're waiting to be retconned for later on. And with the spear, him and Russ constantly are drawn to each other as brothers through these magical spears from the Emperor. The Emperor made these spears for the two of them. No one else has one. Not Leman Russ, not Jagatai, let me rephrase, sorry, Leman Russ has one, but not Rogel Dorn, not Jagatai, not Sanguinius. Of the three loyal primarchs that were at the Siege of Terra, they don't have a special spear. Only Leman Russ and Constantin Valdor. So there's definitely a special bond there between the two. And then finally, talking about where Constantine is now, because after the Siege of Terra, he left, and he actually started to try to think on his own, because he had to. For the first time in his life, he could not follow orders from the Emperor, because there were none, because the Emperor was a vegetable on the Golden Throne, and Constantine had to start thinking for himself, which I think is interesting and cool, how he has to start relying on his own mind and his own thinking and not be by the Emperor's side. And so I think when we see him again, and they will bring him up again, they have to, we're going to see something new, a new growth in Constantine to make him different. How so? I don't know, but he is by far one of the most interesting characters in all of 40k outside of the Emperor. He's the Emperor's most loyal son, and I think, personally, I think he is a Primarch in all but name. He is a Primarch in all but name through his ability, through his actions, through being the official, unofficial Primarch of the Custodes, even though they all use gene seed of the Emperor, probably. But, you know, he's been around since the dawn of it all, since the beginning. But tell me what you think in the comments. Like, comment below, tell me what you think. Do you think he's a Primarch at all? Do you think he's semi-close? Do you think he's not a Primarch whatsoever? Do you think he may be on that level? Even though he may not be a Primarch, is he on that level? Let me know what you think, guys. I know y'all get out there and you work hard. I make these videos so that as you're working, if you're like me, driving around every day for work, you have something to listen to and help take your mind off the craziness of life. So work hard. Don't forget to play hard if you work hard. And just do something fun. Do something for yourself just to relax a little bit and take the edge off the day. You've earned it, and stay safe, pursue something fun, and it can relax your mind, and stay safe, guys.